Hi, welcome back guys. In this video, what we're going to discuss is the controls. That means what are the controls that we can have to minimize the unauthorized change. But remember, we cannot eliminate the risk. So what we can do is control the risk, reduce the risk using controls to a level acceptable to senior management, right? Or comply to the government regulations. Those are the options we have it. So since that we cannot eliminate, then of course we have to think about not only preventive controls but also the detective controls as well. So that's what we are going to look at in this video today, right? Now, okay, what are the change exposure? That means under which kind of circumstances that unauthorized change possibly happen. That's what we look at the change exposure. So I just write down a few steps or few points. So let's quickly go through these points to make sure that you guys really understand what I'm trying to explain here and say here. So first one is the biggest issue is programmers has the direct access to the libraries. This should not happen, correct? Because if they have access, direct access, then they can do whatever the changes they want to. So what's the procedure here? They never can access by themselves. If they want to have access, the supervisor, managers, what they do is they themselves migrate from the library to the testing environment first, and then they put the system in the testing environment, and programmers can access only to testing environment but not direct to the library. Remember, so we talk about migration, but remember, when you do the migration, there should be a audit trail, there should be approval, there should be documentation. Okay, at the same time, I mentioned to you guys before that we're talking about number two, that if changes to be happen, somebody find a problem with the system. It could be user, it could be IT people, it could be management. Once they find a problem with the system, then they should report to the IT people. So to do that, there should be established procedure. That means change request form. A lot of organizations don't have this form. So if your organization don't have that form, it's time to think about it. Okay, so formally establish the procedure. Part of this established procedure, let's develop the form. Let's have a form. That's very important. Okay, but even though the form is there, even the procedure is there, that's what we are looking at number three. But management doesn't take it serious. That means they may not sign off the form even the form's been submitted. That's also not good, because management take this kind of change seriously. Now, next is number four. Remember that once change has been tested, we should submit to the change control board. So there should be specific people within the change control board to properly review the codes. That's very, very important here, to make sure that the programmers did the change whatever supposed to do. No, nothing, any extra line of codes. That's what number 5 says. So make sure that programmers do not put extra line of codes for their personal benefit. That's very important here. So we should do a proper testing, and then after that, change control board should look into the change very detailed. That's very important here. Okay, and then the number 6 is something very challenging for us nowadays, which is I talked to you guys about like developing a fintech program for your organization, maybe a robo trader, maybe a robo advisor, whatever the fintech program. I don't think that your organization programmers are capable enough of developing those kind of systems. So we need that system. Our programmers are not capable, so what we do is we outsource. Remember, we discussed those before. So when we outsource and they give us a system, then here it comes to the maintenance. So when it comes to maintenance, you don't have the lines of code because they give only system to you, so you can't do the maintenance by yourself. So in this case, what happened is this: the vendors need to fix your problems, but every time you are in US, the developer in India, can they come and fix the system for you guys? Almost impossible, right? It takes time and it's not practical. So what we do is we are moving those systems to specific servers. we call it a direct access for that for the vendors from India. So what we do is we don't let them to access to our production environment, we don't let them to access to our library, but we put only whatever the module we wanted to fix into a special server, and we let the vendors to access to that special server, right? So how they access it? Are they giving a username and password to have access anytime they want? Of course not. Remember, we talk about emergency change. In emergency change, we discuss something called emergency ID. We create something like emergency ID. And whenever we want them to fix any module, we move the module and create the emergency ID to them. And they use that emergency ID to access to the specific server, and they fix the things in the server. But given emergency ID, similar to emergency ID, access ID we call it, can be used only one time, but every time when we create, remember we should have audit trail as well. So that's how those the vendors is going to access to your program and fix it. That's very important here as well. Okay. So now we look at the what are the controls to minimize the misuse of change control. Okay. So as I mentioned, because before that, number one is going to be restricted access to the libraries, right? And then supervisory reviews has to be done. So how we do the supervisory reviews, I'm going to discuss with you guys in a few minutes time. And then a change request should be approved and documented, as well as number 4 says that impact has to be assessed. What is impact assess means? Do a proper testing of the change. That's very important here. Okay, right. Okay, now how do we conduct the controls? Okay, then we look at here, say for example, last 1 month, last 6 months, last 8 months, or last 1 year, there are about many changes happens. Can we check all of them one by one? It's impossible. So say for example, last 1 month, there are about say 500 change happens, depending on how large your system it is. So we can't check all of them. So the technique is going to be, we take a sample. So entire changes, we call it as a population. From the population, we take a sample, and most importantly, what we do is to look at only the authorized changes happens. That means we look at the authorization and approval. Okay, right. So now how to take a sample? So I'm sure that you might have learned sampling techniques in your workplace, or maybe in other statistics course that you have taken, but I quickly would like to go through with you guys what are the sampling techniques we have it. So can you remember the most popular sampling techniques? There are 3 most popular sampling techniques. We call it simple random sampling, we call it systematic sampling, and we call stratified sampling. Okay, now first one, we look at simple random sampling. Okay, I'm sure that all of you guys have an idea what does it mean. That means words say simple. That means we take random. So we have population is 500. So we take random. We number all the changes from 1 to 500. We randomly take. So if you want to take 20, we randomly take 20 out of 500. So that's simple random sampling. That's the easiest one. The next one is we call systematic sampling. Do you have any idea what a systematic sampling means? Systematic sampling means we number all of them from 1 to 500, and then we pick the sample in a sample in a systematic way. That means we pick number 1, we pick number 10, number 20, number 30, number 40. Or else we pick number 1, number 5, number 10. So depending on the sample size we would like to have it. Okay, that's what we call systematic sampling. The last one is we call it stratified sampling. It's not as popular as first two, but stratified sampling. Do you have any idea what it is? Stratified sampling means first thing what we do is we have the entire sample. We divide the sample into different strata. Say for example, if you are looking at the students in a university, we divide, say, one strata is female, other strata is male. And for entire university students, we put it undergraduate and postgraduate. So that means we put into a different strata. Okay, and then what we do is within the same strata, we pick a sample using first 2 techniques, either from simple random sampling or systematic sampling. Understand? stratified sampling means first the population divided into different strata, could be 2, could be 3, and then the given strata has something in common to themselves, like something like a male and female, undergraduate, postgraduate, right? And then after that what we do is we take a sample from each strata, say we take the same number of sample from each strata. That's what we call systematic sampling. So I think you have an idea about stratified sampling now. Okay, look forward to see you guys again later.